Hey everyone, welcome to Think Woodworks. My name is Izzy Swan, and I'm just doing a really quick tip. I'm doing a really quick tip. Matt William Flint, who's been a subscriber for a very long time here with Think Woodworks, or for a good length of time, has just asked a question on one of my videos about cutting straight edges with a cordless saw, skill saw. I think he means a cordless one. He says portable. I'm not sure if it's just a regular corded one or whether it's a cordless one. I'm guessing cordless. But he's having trouble. He wants to cut out some shelves, and he's having a little trouble getting a nice straight edge. He's using one of those Craig guides. I think he's talking about the ones that actually attach to the saw. If that's the kind you're talking about, Matt William, take it off the saw, put it in the box that you're going to sell at the next garage sale. They don't work very well. They're okay for doing rough cuts for construction, like if you're putting roofing on or something. I've got this. This is an old door I want to cut a section out of. I'm just going to go ahead and clamp this down to my table with these are those homemade toggle clamps I designed and built a while back. I can't really say I designed these because they're similar to the other clamps, but they work great. Now, if you're using a cordless saw like this one here, this is a cheap Ryobi, belongs to my father-in-law. Something that it's a good thing to know and always remember, on a lot of brands of saws, from the outside of the bed here to the inside of the saw blade, let me see, or to the outside of the saw blade, from here to here is 1.5 inches. So that's a handy thing to know. So if you're measuring it out and you want to cut something, you're always gonna put this side of the fence, the right side of the fence, up against your straight edge. And I'll tell you why here in a second. Is 1.5 inches. So that's easy to know. If you're using an inexpensive saw like this, there's a couple things you want to check. You want to check from the bed itself to the blade, front and back, to make sure that's lined up at 1.5 inches. Those two planes are parallel to each other. A lot of times, these things get chucked up under benches or kicked around, and that gets out of whack with these lesser expensive saws. Another thing you want to check for is to see if your bed itself is warped or twisted. And again, that happens a lot. And if it has, you're going to either want to try and straighten it out, or unfortunately, if you can't get it right, go get a new saw, because it's never going to track right down don't get a new saw. It's just not going to track right along a straight edge. You can still use it for other things. So once I've got that set up, I know that I got 1.5 inches between the outside and the side of the bed. I know that if I want a 14-inch piece, I have to subtract 1.5 inches from that and mark it, and that's where my straight edge will go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 14.5-inch piece, and I'm going to mark it 1.5 inches back. So I marked it 13 inches on both sides, 13 inches. And then grab a straight edge. Lots of different things works for straight edges as long as it's straight. You know, a piece of plywood, MDF. In my case, I use a 4-foot level a lot because it reaches all the way across the 4-foot piece of sheet stock of plywood or whatever you happen to be using at the moment. Throw a couple clamps on both sides. I know a lot of you guys know this, and you're probably sitting there yawning, but you know, for a lot of new people, they don't know this, and there are some tricks to doing this. You know, you can't just throw this up here and make it work. If you try to put the straight edge on the other side of the blade, a lot of times what's going to happen is your saw is going to want to wander off, and this is why. When you have it up against the right side of the blade and you're pushing on this, it tends to put pressure up against, because you're pushing on the outside, it tends to put pressure up against the straight edge. So you're naturally pushing along this, you're keeping the pressure on that straight edge, and it's going to want to track nice. If you go the other direction, you're actually pushing away from the straight edge, and the saw itself is going to want to kind of canter out. So always cut on the right side of the blade, unless you're using a left-handed saw, left-handed, in which case the left-hand side. So I suppose it would be helpful if I use the right marks. This is like my mistake week. Okay. Let's try this again. There you go. Nice straight edge ripped with a relatively inexpensive skill saw. And this trick works with anything. You can do this, I mean, you could quite literally do this in lieu of a table saw. Granted, that's a lot of work just to make one cut, but it's possible. So, another thing I forgot to mention is to make sure that your blade is nice and square to the bed, not just whether it's parallel with the bed itself. But anyway, thanks for watching. There's just a quick tip from Think Woodworks. Lots more fun stuff coming down the pipe, so don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm working on the $50 wood shop right now. I'll have that up later today or tomorrow. Talk to y'all soon.